Have you ever had a dream in life, a vision, a purpose of what you want to do with your life? You've set various goals, you've put a plan of action in place, and you executed those actions. You put your all into it. Day after day, you worked hard, and you thought, I've done everything I can do to achieve this goal. And you wait, and nothing happens. And this goes on year after year after year after year. Has that ever happened to you? Let's talk about it. So, I work with a client who, in fact, has gone through that. And they have worked hard at really trying to get ahead in life. And this client that I have has gone through periods of trauma. They have gone through abusive relationships, and yet they plug on. They have set goals for themselves in spite of all the adversity that has come their way. I'm talking failed relationships, I'm talking can't find work, just things that just keep coming up, family problems, everything just keeps coming at them. And they don't seem to get any peace. And yet they plow ahead. They set plans for themselves, they execute the plan over and over and over and over again. My client did this for many years. And they came away feeling like, I just can't get ahead. I've worked so hard. I've done so much. I don't know what else to do. And yet I just can't catch a break. And they don't understand why. They feel like they've done every single thing right. It's not perfection, but what else can they do? And why is it that things are so difficult for them, but yet for someone else, it seems to be so easy to achieve those goals? And this is the conversation we had. And my client has gone through all of these emotions, feeling anxious and overwhelmed and depressed and crushed. And yet, nothing has happened. And now it's come to the point where they are feeling numb. Nothing's left. All the energy has been depleted, and they're asking themselves, what's the point? I'm not getting ahead, so I'm just going to not do anything. I'm just going to be still stuck. I'm just going to give up. How many of us feel this way or have felt that way in our past? I know I felt that way before, feeling like I put all of my effort into something and nothing came out of it. But for some people, it goes on for years and years. In fact, almost their entire adult lives, they feel like no matter what they do, they just can't seem to catch a break. Many of us are raised to believe that if we put in the hard work and we give it our all, that something is going to come out of it that's going to be just as positive and just as fulfilling. In other words, the positive input equates to the positive outcome. But that's not really reality. And then we're left feeling depleted and we're left feeling disappointed and oftentimes depressed about where our life is headed. So the reality is that input doesn't necessarily mean output. If we put in 100%, you may not get 100% of the output back. In fact, there's so many factors that contribute to that, so many variables that are out of our control. There's economics, there's timing. We're talking about other people with their own thoughts and their own decision making. We're talking systems, we're talking how we were raised. All of these factors contribute to what the possible outcomes can be. So we're left feeling helpless and out of control. In fact, we're left feeling like we're just puppets in this world and that our fate is in the hands of, we don't know. We feel like we don't have control over anything in our lives. They simply just cannot exert the energy, that 100% energy that we talked about, to move forward. And they don't even feel anything at all now. So, what does that really mean? And what should you do in that situation when you do feel that way? Is it okay to feel numb? I think sometimes it is. Sometimes you just have to sit in that feeling of numbness, especially after you put so much work into things. So in my client's case, after they put in all the effort and the energy, and nothing came of it. They were left feeling simply numb. They just couldn't do anything else. So, what do you do when you're feeling numb, when you feel like you just simply cannot exert any more effort into this project of you? Sitting in those feelings, perfectly fine. So, in my client's case, after all that energy that they put into it and all that work and all that effort, nothing came of it, or so they thought. But in fact, that's not a bad thing to sit into your disappointment. Sometimes you just can't seem to muster up the energy to do anything else. And it's okay to sit in that disappointment, to feel that feeling of disappointment. Or even if it's numbness, sitting in that means that you're not going to take all that energy and exert it out again into the world, that you're reserving that for yourself, that you don't have to move on and plow ahead, that it's okay just to stay put where you are. This is going to give you time to reflect and give you time to just experience whatever feelings you go through. Disappointment is not stagnation. It gives you time to recalibrate and gain that energy level back up to go on and move ahead with your goals. It gives you time for emotional processing without feeling pressured to make any decisions at all. You can simply reflect on it. You begin to maybe feel like there are some things that I'm doing right here. Maybe I'm not a failure. Maybe the world is not out to get me. And there are some things actually happening in my life. No, it may not be the actual outcome that I want, but it's definitely something happening here that I didn't recognize before because I was so stuck in the movement of let's go. This time, you can sit in those emotions, sit in those feelings, and reflect on your accomplishments and things that you have done to carry you to this point. So, sitting in that disappointment gives you time for clarity. It gives you time for reflection, wisdom, and redirection. In fact, being still gives you time to just feel what you're feeling. It gives you time to reflect. It gives you time to recoup, regain your energy, and just live in the moment without always having to think about what do I need to do next. So being still is not giving up. So when you're overloaded, overwhelmed, and depleted, what do you need to do? Give yourself time to reflect on this and think about what are the things that I'm doing right? My input doesn't equate to the output. It may not be what you think you need, but at the moment, there's been a journey taking place. There's been a growth, and there's definitely things that you've been achieving along the way. So, what do you do when you feel overloaded, depleted, and overwhelmed because you too have put forth all of this effort and nothing's come of it? Sitting still, feeling a disappointment is going to give you time to reflect and think about confusing delay with denial. Am I simply saying nothing's ever going to happen and stay in that moment of denial? Or is it simply a delay that every little step that you make is a step to a higher, greater accomplishment? And it's just looking at those steps on an individual basis rather than that finish line. Is there any way I can get more support for the effort that I'm putting forth? So, in other words, can I work smarter and not harder? And finally, what does compassion look like to me? Maybe I should give myself more grace. Think about many achievements that I've made, the blessings that I have, and what I value. Give myself time to regroup and even grieve over the fact that I haven't accomplished the goal that I wanted to accomplish. Just because the outcome that you had vision in your mind has not been achieved doesn't mean it's been an epic failure. In fact, it's progress. Everything that you do is going to be one more step in the direction that you want to go in. Sometimes it's about becoming and not achieving. You're not broken, you're not behind, and it's not the end of your story. So take a breath, sit in those feelings, reflect, and then recoup. Be still, stay in the moment. Don't feel compelled to get back out there right away. Just simply live and just sit in it. And if you have your own personal story to share about this particular topic, put them in the comments down below. I would love to hear about them. And until next time, I will talk to you soon. Bye.